And we're live, guys. We're here with one and only QwQiao. I don't know how many different ways I pronounce your name on the channel because I read your tweets all the time. But now you told me it's Chao, so it's QwQiao. What's up, man?
QW is my initials. You can.
But why don't you have a Western name? Like normally Chinese people get like Daniel or like Nathan, right? But you kept the Chao.
Yeah, I thought of getting one in high school, and my friends were like, "No, don't do it. Like you're who you are, and don't get a anglicized name."
Nice. So you grew up in the U.S. or what's your story?
Grew up in Canada, Quebec. Montreal. So I actually grew up in a French-speaking region of Canada, and then moved to the US after college.
Nice. And for all of you guys who don't know, I mean, if you watch my channel, you probably know because we read the Chao's Twitter a lot. So you are from Alliance DAO. You guys invest in all kinds of things. During the bear market, I also found your podcast, Good Game Podcast, and it's been very good because you've been bullish Solana from the bottom, and that was very good for me personally and for everyone watching my channel as well, that we were able to capture it. And I mean, overall, very nice discussions on Good Game Podcast about the actual projects, startups. I mean, you invest in things which, I mean, they're actually building stuff. I remember you discussed like Helium and stuff like that during the bear market. So for many people, when they think about projects, I don't know, maybe they only think about memes or this kind of, Fugazi, they say they have tech, but then they have no tech. But when I listen to your podcast, then you discuss like all these different founders that actually do things. And so that's a short background about you based on my experience. But also introduce yourself in your own way.
No, I thought that was a great introduction. Thank you for that. But I think you're spot on. Like we invest in startups, crypto startups, and we try to invest in startups that build products that people want. That's sort of our edge. Like we're pretty intuitive as investors. Like if this product we understand, and if we like the team, then we'll try to work with them. So that's sort of our general investment philosophy.
And so on your podcast, it's you and Imran. How did you guys meet and start this? Both Alliance DAO, I guess you both started, and this whole working together.
Yeah, we've known each other since 2018. Back then I was as a Masari, I was the founding head of product. Imran was running another venture firm. And in 2020, summer 2020, that was DeFi summer. Had a great time. I left Masari. I helped Masari get to product market fit, and then like 2 weeks after I left, Imran called me and he said, "Do you want to incubate startups?" I was like, "I'm kind of retired," but he said it's gonna be fun, and so I started doing it, and it was fun. It has been fun. It has been a really fun 4 years working with the startups, working with Imran and my other partners. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. It's really a lot of fun. Like the kind of work I do, like it's very different from what people typically see on crypto Twitter. Like crypto Twitter is nowadays is a lot of trading. Like it's trading. It's always trading. Back in the day, like 2020, 2018, that era was actually a lot of intellectual discussions. A little, some trading as well, but a little less. But I like the kind of work I do these days is really like working with startups at the earliest stage, and it's a lot of fun. It's very painful, but it's really rewarding when they succeed.
Is it your own funds that you invest, or is it you have LPs and you take in money?
Yeah, when we started, it was funded by ourselves, and later we brought on external capital. So we have LPs now.
Got it. And let's get back to startups and all of that later, because most people, they want to know, is it the top? Is it not the top? Many top signals. We have crypto apps very high up in App Store. Michael's salary is on Forbes today. All kinds of signals are flashing at the same time. We have M2 money supply going up. Trump in interest rates gonna come down. Like, how do you read the cycle? Is this the final year, or is it different this time, and we're gonna go beyond the normal 4-year cycle?
I think we're definitely closer to the end of the cycle than we are to even the middle of the cycle, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
it's hard to make a case that that it's truly over, because Bitcoin is big enough these days that it's basically a macro asset class. So it's going to follow the stock market. It's going to be driven by interest rates. It's going to be driven by the economy, maybe the dollar as well. Um, and if you look at the macro side of things, things are going pretty well. Like the economy is pretty good, and it's possible that in the coming year or so, the major countries are going to start unleashing more liquidity, especially China.
Yeah.
China might unleash more liquidity to save the economy. The US is currently in a cutting cycle. All these things are very conducive to the market. Now, the bearish case is that, in fact, the sentiment, we're near the part of the cycle where there's more rug pulls, there's more grifts, and the retail is back. They're all talking about crypto. So you can make the case for both, but I think it's very hard to say, if I'm leaning strongly, towards one versus the other, like towards bullish or bearish against the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's super hard because last cycle, we kind of did top out in March. It was higher in November in 2021 than in March 2021. But if you sold everything in March, it's like the same as in November, at least for Bitcoin. I think altcoins went a bit higher. But I mean, long term, of course, it doesn't matter because even if there is a bear market, it's a year. Like 2022 was 1 year and then we're back bullish. So it's more the short term optimization of the cycles. Do you guys think about that a lot, by the way? Because the bear market is very short, like 2022 and then it's over. And now 2023, already Bitcoin recovered, like everything is back.
Yeah.
So do you guys care about the cycles at all? Because that's something that I've been thinking a lot. Looking at the last cycle, like it was so short, like the bear 1 year of hell and then it passed quite quickly. Well, how do you think about it?
I mean, for venture investments, we don't think about cycles. But for my personal liquid investments, or for anyone who engage in the liquid secondary market, of course, they need to think about cycles. And you're right that this past bear market was actually pretty short. I thought this past bear market was the easiest in the history of crypto.
Yeah, it was so short, exactly.
It was so short, and it was a quick bounce, and like very quickly we got the Bitcoin ETF that was extremely bullish, and then we got a very friendly new administration that's very bullish. So that's that. By the way, I don't think about. I think that the one thing I don't think about is the 4-year cycle. So
Yeah.
markets will always go in cycles, but I think the idea of 4-year cycles is probably over for the reason that I described earlier, which is that Bitcoin is now a macro asset class, and it's driven by macro rather than like this 4-year seasonality.
Yeah. But what do you make? So basically, you said that it's hard to say either or whether it's soon to topping or not because it is the 4th year. This is the 4th year,
Yep.
and there are many top signals. But at the same time, Trump. I mean, as always, it's there are many pro bullish, pro bearish signs. But how do you personally, like, based on all of this? What do you personally do? Have you done anything yet?
I have. I think this is actually a good question, right? Like it's a much better to ask me what I did rather than what I think.
Yeah.
Right. So what I did is I took 10% off of my position, like my overall crypto exposure. I took 10% off. I think that should tell you what I think about the market. I think I'm still very bullish, but I should be less greedy than I was during the bear market.
Makes sense. And what's your plan moving forward? Will you just go on feeling and like take another 10% when it feels even more overheated, or do you have in 2 months, in 3 months? How do you think about the rest?
I think if we get another major leg up in Bitcoin, I'll probably, like by another major leg up, I mean something to 120 to 140, like that kind of range.
Yeah.
I'll probably take another 10% off. Or if the economy turns, like there are signs of economic weakness, or signs of strengthening inflation. And by the way, I cannot do this research myself. I fully outsource this stuff to people I trust. I don't pretend to be a macro expert by any means. But that's another signal. The sentiment stuff, right? Like the top signals that crypto Twitter generally talks about, it's really hard to make a decision off of that because every cycle is actually different. Like what was a top signal last cycle might not be a good one this cycle because there's more people in crypto. Like crypto reaches more and more people, and crypto reaches different types of players, right? Like this cycle, crypto might reach the nation states. Last cycle, it was an early institutional cycle. And the cycle before was a retail early adopter cycle, right? So last cycle, we had a lot of celebrities launching their NFTs. That was in hindsight, that was a pretty serious top cycle, a top signal. But for this cycle, that's probably not the case.
Now the presidents are doing meme coins.
Exactly.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it as a top cycle, but the fact that Trump does a meme coin. I mean, for me, my concern, and by the way, I haven't taken anything off the table yet, but now that you say 10%, maybe I should also do it. Because I also see a lot of issue with upcoming catalysts. We have hit all of them. Like everything has played out perfectly. We have the Trump in office. We have ETFs. Like everything has happened. Trump has done a meme. The only thing that hasn't happened is the reserve. They're gonna do some research on that. So that's maybe the only catalyst which people can look forward to.
Yeah.
And then it's decreased interest rates, and but those are very massive. It's very massive catalysts. But in general, like everything has happened, and there is not too much to look forward to. If I'm to take the bearish outlook, it is that we've hit everything so nicely, and when things actually happen, now it's we don't have any more catalysts. But yeah, those are the two ones. Do you see any other ones outside of the reserves and the interest rates?
I mean, if there's something bad happens around the world and people actually want to use Bitcoin for what it was intended for, which is an uncensorable store of wealth and medium of exchange, then that could be another catalyst. But in general, sometimes even if there's no catalyst, so the market doesn't have to go up or down based on catalyst, right? Like if the economy continues to do well, people become wealthier. They have more free cash flow. They can invest. They can put it somewhere, and they can just buy Bitcoin. Like even if there's no good news anymore, it can still go up. Like for example, this past 2 weeks, right? Like Trump issued a very bullish executive order. That was very bullish, right? So and then people are like, yeah, the good news is gone. Like all the good news is out. But then if you look at the ETF flow, it was still very good. So like people can buy Bitcoin without any new catalyst.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, long term, I agree, but short term, it's. I still think they play a massive role because, yes, long term, everyone just buys all the time, a bit here and there. But we pump so much. Like you look, we pumped from like 40K. Just a few months ago, we were at like 70K. Now we're like 108. So this kind of momentum to the upside, I think is driven a lot about this expectation about Trump and all of that. But of course, just in general, there is more people, they buy, they become richer.
Yeah.
But let's see. Yeah, I like that we got this 10% signal from you. It's a good one to keep in mind also for all of you guys watching that. It is, I mean, traditionally it's the last year of the cycle. Probably good to be a bit less greedy this time around. And you guys have been very good with the Solana conviction. Because you have all of the startups that you see that Solana is working, and when Solana was like $8, you were super bullish on your podcast. What do you see now? Like many people are excited about Sui, but is it really that good? Is it any reason to build there when there is Solana? Because there is a reason to build on Solana when you have ETH and a million layer 2s and all of the bridges and broken user experience. But do you think Sui, for example, has what it takes to compete with Solana, or is it more that you really have to be 10 times better than Solana and there is nothing such around? How do you view it?
I think for Sui this is not just specific to Sui, but for any competitor to Solana, they need to be Aside from Base, so so the two front runners today are Solana and Base. I think Solana is slightly ahead of Base. For anyone else outside these two to compete with Solana and Base, they in fact need to be 10x better, and this could be 10x better in terms of technology or distribution. Otherwise, I think it's just very hard to disrupt this duopoly.
But is Base, in your view, a real competitor, because it is Coinbase and it's like a stock market? It's a chain done by a stock market app company, and I mean, Ethereum community for the longest time they have been accusing Solana that it's centralized. You know, it's like a printer, you have to restart because it goes down. But then Base is even worse. Like all L2s are even worse.
Yeah.
So looking at, for example, let's say a nation state wants to build something, they would either pick ETH or Solana, in my view. If they want something where it's more interactive, it's Solana. If they're fine with slow, you know, once per month doing some transaction, then it's ETH. But it's not Base. I mean, at least in how I see it, because that one is corporate chain with shareholders, and the revenue in the company is from Base.
Yeah.
So how do you view this, the dynamic with ETH, decentralized, not decentralized? Solana is not decentralized, but then Base and L2s, or maybe even less. How do you look at it?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this discussion is just a cultural war. Like, do users really care? Like, yes, some users care, but it really depends on what type of users. Do retail users care about decentralization?
No.
I would say not very much.
It's permissionless.
It's permissionless. Do institutions care about decentralized? Maybe a little bit more, but within this bucket, there's the U.S. institutions and the ex-U.S. institutions. So back to your point about like Coinbase being an exchange, right? Like U.S. institutions actually trust Coinbase. They trust USDC. People outside the U.S., I think they trust like maybe Binance more and USDT more. So there's actually a bifurcation between US, like depending on the region, right? So a US institution, if they want to do something on chain, I would not be surprised that they want to work with Coinbase. Like a lot of their ETFs are already custodied by Coinbase custody.
That's a good point.
So it's it really depends on the user segment.
And as an ecosystem, how do you view Solana versus EVM? I mean, it feels that EVM had such advantage, like early adopter with devs and the community, and all blockchain devs knew EVM. Now it's kind of changing with everyone wanting to build on Solana. But do they actually build on Solana, or they just launch a coin on Pump Fun? How do you view it? Like you work with many startups. Like, is it many devs now on Solana, and it's easy to find devs, or is it Solana has just all the trading, and for that you don't need devs, you just Pump Fun?
So both are right. I think probably a very large majority, an overwhelming majority of the volume on Solana today is Pump Fun meme coins. But at the same time, the legit devs and startups are also building on Solana. Like they're building like other types of consumer products, stablecoin products, DePIN. I think the quality of startups building on Solana currently is probably number one, slightly ahead of Base.
And why is that? How have they achieved it?
That's a really good question. It's probably a combination of factors. So, like, by the way, so when I was bullish Solana at $8, I didn't think at that time that Solana was going to overtake Ethereum. I just thought it was a very contrarian bet. And that was 2022. But in 2023, I started to realize, oh, actually, Solana might be a serious challenger to Ethereum. And then in 2024, I was like, well, based on the data I see now, Solana is probably going to flip Ethereum. So like my conviction level actually evolved over time based on data that I got in. So what kind of data I got was that in 2022 at around $8, I saw that there was a very a critical mass of very strong Solana developers that did not want to leave Solana. And part of the reason, I think, in hindsight, was that when you build on Solana, you have to use Rust, and it's a very different developer ecosystem. It's actually very hard to go from Solana to Ethereum. You are like pot committed to Solana,
Yeah.
right? So that was actually a very interesting, and in hindsight, a very good decision for Solana to adopt something like Rust rather than something like Solidity or EVM.
So it's hard to get devs because it's fully new, like no one knows it.
Exactly.
But then once they learn it and they invest in the team and the talent, now they cannot go anywhere else.
But also a lot of devs really love Rust. Rust is a very sexy language. People sometimes want to learn that language, so they chose Solana because they like Rust. Back in the day, today is different. But anyway, that was 2022, and then 2023. I started to play around with the products, which, by the way, they spent years building. I was like, man, the Solana user experience is actually better. It's better in terms of speed compared to Ethereum Layer 1, in terms of not having to bridge. So that's a big problem with the Ethereum Layer 2s. And generally, the culture of builders on Solana, I think, from my perspective, is more pragmatic than the Ethereum builders. Ethereum builders are very idealistic, academic. Compared to Solana, Solana is more pragmatic. Of course, I'm generalizing. This is a huge generalization. There's both on each ecosystem, but the average culture is that it's pragmatic versus idealistic, academic. So that was 2023, and then 2024, I was like, well, if you look at the data now, well, the volume of Solana has already surpassed Ethereum, and the price of Solana is only at 1/3 of ETH. What do you do?
Exactly. I mean, like that's the biggest mystery. Like, how can it be so undervalued versus ETH when it is like one of the most bullish things that I see is that this Solana is App Store is really becoming true, because you don't actually need to care about other chains. If you just go on Solana and you become big, let's say like PamFan or others, you can literally make hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue just on Solana. Like you don't need to have this approach where, we're gonna have EVM and this and that. You can. It's more than enough to become big on Solana, and from there in the future maybe you can add, because it's not like that in other chains. I mean, if you become big on an up and coming chain that is new and small, it may be a good way to get early traction and become big in some market, but that market likely is going to be small, like all of this, like other up and coming, like maybe Sui. Like I don't, and maybe you disagree, but let me know. Can you really become big on Sui and make as much as on Solana, or will you have to like go to Solana once you have captured Sui? Because on Solana, it's not necessarily, it's like, you become big in a EU country, let's say in Sweden, as a business. Sooner or later, you will have to go to US and like other countries to really become massive. But if you are in the US and you become big there, I mean, you can be a multi-billion on the stock market, like massive company just from the US. So this is what I mean. With Solana, they are on this level where if you're big in Solana, if you want, you can expand, but also on Solana, you can be massive crypto company. Yeah. So how do you see this? Is this taking shape on Solana, and do you see like other chains being in the same position as well?
I mean, this is actually a really good observation. This is precisely why I think Solana has a big network effect, which by the way, Base also has some, but the upcoming chains, they are going to have to fight this network effect. They're fighting an uphill battle against the incumbents. Like you brought up a couple of cases where like you can just build a product on Solana today and then make a ton of revenue. This today only happens on Solana. Like like revenue at that scale, I've not seen it in any other chain. It's very different.
Crazy. It's crazy.
I've in fact not seen it on Base. And it's probably even less likely to happen on a up and coming chain. That's why those up and coming chains need to be 10x better in some dimension at the very least. Like could be technology, could be distribution.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of in the beginning of the internet, in the early 2000s, it felt like Facebook is also just gonna come and go, and YouTube also. Yeah, there's YouTube. There's like a million other video sites. But then they just grow and grow, and then no one can replace them. So the question is Solana at that point where you just gonna grow and grow, and it's hard to replace. Like, how do you become 10 times better? The fees are already solved, everything is already solved.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting. What is your, because Solana is not contrarian anymore? What's some of your contrarian? Do you have any contrarian view now that you can share with us?
My contrarian view is that with Solana, you don't need to be contrarian. You just need to go.
Okay. Got it.
Just go with the market, and I'll tell you why. The reason is Solana is not contrarian among crypto natives, but it's actually very contrarian among people outside of our little bubble. If you talk to the institutional people or normies, they have no idea that Solana is actually ahead of Ethereum in many objective metrics. And they're currently, in fact, very bullish ETH. And by the way, like there's nothing wrong about being bullish ETH. It's just, if you look at the relative value, it's really clear for us crypto natives, if you had to pick one asset to own between these two, it's very clear which one to own. But that's not clear among the people outside our little bubble.
It's like Trump buying Link and ETH, and I think he just sells his meme coin. And I don't know if he sold, by the way, but he's not buying Sol. He's buying ETH and all of this DeFi 2020, 2021 coins.
Yeah.
And I guess institutionally, there's not even in ETF. Well, for Solana, that's a big catalyst. That's not explored. That hasn't happened yet. It's the ETF. It's the institutional adoption. More builders from TradFi. I guess no one in TradFi really builds on Solana yet, right? Like on ETH, there is some banks doing some, BlackRock.
No, yesterday I saw some securitized thing. Like I don't think it was someone like BlackRock, but it was like TradFi. Like TradFi building like RWAs on Solana.
And based on your portfolio, let's shill some of your portfolio. What kind of apps, founders are good in your portfolio that our audience can check out?
Yeah, like we always bet on founders rather than ideas. We look at founders who are technical, who are somewhat quirky, autistic, have a big chip on their shoulder. They can think differently. They can execute. Right, but in terms of ideas, like there's broadly speaking, there's two types of products that work really well currently in crypto. One is the trading related apps, right? Like that's Moonshot, that's like all these DeFi stuff, that's Pump Fund, that's creator tokens is probably in that category as well. Everything that's trading related. In fact, I think some of these portfolio companies that we funded are going to disrupt Robinhood. I don't think Robinhood realizes what's happening yet, because all the stuff is happening on chain, and they are like all the centralized exchanges, including Robinhood, are going to get disrupted. Robinhood is a $30 billion business. I think one of our companies is going to disrupt them within the next 5 years. But anyway, go ahead.
It's kind of like what Coinbase said themselves, that they have to index instead of list. They have to like kind of like Moonshot to like verify from on chain. So that's happening for sure.
I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised that they reacted so fast, because that they're spot on when it comes to the threat that they're facing. So that made me a little bit more bullish on Coinbase.
And do you think they softly fud Solana with those like 4-hour withdrawal, or it's a technical solution?
I think that was just a fuck up. Like that was not intentional.
But there is another thing that I don't like in Coinbase Wallet. Yeah. In order to select Solana, they have hidden it on like a separate page. Okay. Let's see, is it network select or something? Because I don't know exactly where it is in the UI. I think it is when you have your wallet, exactly, and then you want to copy address. Let me see. Yes. So when you open Coinbase Wallet and you want to copy your address, Solana is nowhere to be seen. But you can get your Solana address if you click on other assets, and there is Solana. So they have like, that's the only thing. Sorry?
What is shown to you by default?
By default, you see your EVM address. And then Solana is not even, like, you don't see Solana. There is a button called Other Assets that opens up a new tab. And so, I mean, I maybe it's unintentional, but...
No, that's definitely intentional. Like, it's undeniable that Coinbase is more Ethereum aligned than Solana.
Yeah.
But the other incident of like hours of delays on Solana transfer. I think that was just a fuck up.
Yeah, I think so too. There was someone that posted like 4 years, like ETH 5 minutes, base 10 seconds, Solana 4 years, but it was edited.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting how they really need to speed up. But they have to also support base more. They have to list all of these base tokens. I've seen the base community being a bit upset that they haven't listed virtual or some other coin. So hopefully they change and they become faster. And then like you say, Moonshot and the other ones where you just trade from the app. I mean, that one also is super interesting because you can onboard straight into your wallet with like Apple Pay and get started. Like, why would you even want Robinhood? Because here you can trade 24/7. It's as nice. Everything is amazing.
Robinhood has
It
distribution. That's what they have. They already own the existing retail users. But for those who are not on Robinhood, you're right. They're going to choose the crypto native solutions.
Yeah, exactly. And on Robinhood, you cannot have this, that you get referral fee from your friends, like on chain. Like I think that kind of distribution. I don't know if it's not possible in TradFi. It's like not regulatory approved or something. But I mean that one is powerful because you can refer, let's say, 30 people. And if they trade actively, you don't have to work. Like in many countries, you can earn like hundreds or thousands of dollars if they trade a lot. I mean, it can be your income to refer to these new sites. It's kind of democratizing this exchange affiliate in a way because you get more fees. Like if in these on-chain apps, like my experience is that the fees are just bigger than if you go to Binance and try to onboard your friends to Binance. Because number one, on central exchange is most of the users you give the link to, they're gonna fall off because it's KYC and they have to onboard this long time. Onboarding is way easier in this new gen Robinhood killers, and also the fees are higher. Like these on-chain traders, they don't care too much about the fee in the same way as sex traders.
Yep.
And it seems to be a good growth strategy. You think it can scale beyond crypto into onboarding grandma and your work normie friends to trade and outcompete Robinhood?
I think Moonshot can. Moonshot experience is very good, very normie friendly. Yeah. So here's how I'm thinking about the competitive landscape right now. There's Coinbase with Base. That's one camp. And then there's Jupiter, Moonshot, Meteora, Pump Fund, Solana. That's the other camp. And the competition between these two is going to... By the way, those names that I mentioned on Solana, we incubated all of them. So that's basically Coinbase versus this camp. And the competition will heat up in the coming years, and they know this. I think both camps know that they're competing with the other, head to head.
Yeah. What have they done, or how do you see that? How do you see this war being prepared? Like, for example, is Coinbase trying to get some of these apps to support Base more, some incentives? How do they try?
I'm not sure how exactly, but they certainly realize the problem because they mentioned that indexing versus listing thing, right? So they know what the problem is. But in terms of exact strategy, I have no idea. The thing with Coinbase is that they're a very big company, and there's probably a lot of bureaucracy inside. And then
it's super hard.
It's very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and at least they don't have this issue with because I just read that Mark Zuckerberg is facing a riot at Facebook because they removed the tampon from the bathroom.
Yeah.
So Coinbase at least doesn't have to deal with that because Brian aligned all of them like years ago to be only focused on products and not politics. But it's very hard to align a big org, and you kind of see it in the wallet, like Coinbase wallet. It kind of has the same features as Phantom, but it's not as smooth. Like you see that it's kind of secondary versus the centralized app. Versus you open Phantom, it's way better. And the same thing also another ETH wallet, Zerion. It's way better than Coinbase wallet. So yeah, being a big org has advantages, but yeah, this product focus can disappear. And smaller teams, even Rainbow wallet on ETH is better than Coinbase wallet. So they have to step up. But yeah, if they focus, they can probably do it. And looking at the Pump Fund, what do you think? What's going to happen to them? Like, they are sued now. I don't know if these lawsuits are gonna go anywhere with this. You know,
Yeah.
I lost money on peanut or this guy is Berwick or what they're called. Like, if you lost money on peanut from Pump Fund,
Yeah.
contact us. You think it's gonna go anywhere, or because I mean there is this regulation is probably gonna increase also.
Yeah.
That you have all of these fantastic apps, no KYC, just connect wallet. Likely that's gonna get more challenged than it is right now.
Yeah.
Because now it's crazy that it's not challenged at all. You can literally outcompete Robinhood. You have made a better app, and I guess Robinhood and TradFi will start like being regulators, telling them what the hell. Like, this is more fun. We cannot do it because we're regulated. These kids, they just do a front end for wallet.
Yeah.
How do you view it? Like both when in Pump Fund specifically with this, you know, I lost money on peanut, give me refund, and like overall this non-custodial being better than Robinhood. Will they allow it, or are they gonna come for it?
Well, so on the legal stuff. First of all, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Blah blah blah. But
yeah, just bro science.
No, they're like they couldn't even win the lawsuit during the Biden era. Like I can't see how they're gonna win this during the Trump era. Our crypto czar, Sir David Sachs, literally just said that meme coins are collectibles.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't see how. Like, no, I don't see it. But in terms of regulated versus non-regulated, are they going to allow it? Well, Trump issued an executive order earlier this week and said we should protect self-custody. So self-custody to me means that if it's protected, then they will allow it. They will allow this experience of self-custody, signing, log in with your Phantom, and then start trading without KYC. I think they're going to allow this.
Yeah. I mean, the US has really a chance now to become the center for crypto because, yes, there is Dubai, there is Singapore, but man, imagine if US is, I mean, that would be way more appealing for most founders to, because I mean, Singapore is nice, Dubai is nice, but like if you are from Europe, you're from the US, it is far away, like the climate, it's, but if the US is like tax-free on US-made crypto coins and super good regulation, I mean, that combination would be insane.
Yeah. But by the way, I think the capital gain tax, first of all, I think it was a rumor, like it wasn't real, like it was fake news. but two, I don't think it's actually bullish. I think it's bearish. Why? Because a lot of people can now sell.
Ah, you mean like that? Yes, that's true. That's true.
I personally haven't sold a lot of my coins because I don't pay taxes. But if you tell me I don't need to pay taxes, I'm going to sell tomorrow.
Okay, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. But what do you think overall? I mean, this capital gain, I know it may be bearish, but in most people's heads it's bullish.
Yeah.
And that is also one of these catalysts, which may not even be real, but it's still a catalyst because everyone speaks about it. So that's one of these like bull market fuels that at least in my head is still.
The thing with bull market is people will find all sorts of excuses to justify why this thing will keep going up.
Yes. Yes.
Like even if those catalysts don't mean anything, but I think the real one that will actually change everything is the strategic reserve. That will actually change everything. Like if without it, like let's say hypothetically, the cycle would end in, let's say, in June. But if we had that strategic reserve legislation passed in June, I think that's gonna extend the cycle way longer.
Yeah, because the next step, of course, is all the other countries. The US has done it. That's not anticipation anymore. But then you anticipate China, Russia, Japan, everyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one, and hopefully it's gonna happen soon. Why do they study? Like, what is there to study? I think the market got a bit annoyed when Trump said that they're gonna have a group, they're gonna study it. Do you follow that with Cynthia Loomis? She has some bill soon. When's it gonna happen? You think?
So again, I'm not an expert in this.
Yeah, I mean everything here is bro science.
Yeah,
like, we just
bro science.
Shooting from the hip.
I think I actually asked a few experts, like who I thought was experts, and no one could tell me that if Trump was allowed to sign into an executive order to set up a strategic reserve, no one knew if this was legal or constitutional. So I think
Yeah.
a safe thing for Trump to do was just not do that. Is just instead of like actually creating a strategic reserve with an executive order, he just said, "Hey, go study it, like go consider
Yeah,
it."
yeah.
Right. So like it was a safe thing for him to do. So now we just hope that it goes through Congress. Now, how long is it going to take? I don't know. Hopefully within the next 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's possible that happens in the next. I don't know what the probability is. And I think the states are trying to front run the federal government. Like there's like 12
Yes.
states
Yes.
that initiated a bill.
And it's important to keep in mind that many states are bigger than countries. Like there's a lot of noise now that the Czech Republic is going to do it in their central bank, but
Yeah.
like you look at this Texas, like Texas is bigger than most European countries. So some of the states is like fully fledged country. California, not that I don't think they're going to do it. They have this,
California does not do it.
No, they're not gonna do it. But it's like Wyoming, Texas, Illinois. Yeah. Let's see.
I'm surprised Illinois did it.
Why?
Because Illinois is more. Illinois is pretty Democratic versus Republican, and I was just surprised. I would have.
But also,
yeah, I would have thought that Republican states would do it first, but then I saw a few blue states, so I was pretty surprised.
But I'm very curious with the U.S. election and everything. Like it seems that the woke stuff, like that's going away. So Democrats could actually like stage a comeback with common sense, like Obama 2008 Democrat kind of before all of this craziness. Do you think it's gonna happen with pro crypto, like more reasonable in some, like still cater to like the old 2005, 6, 7 Democrat audience? Like how do you view the dynamic? Because obviously they cannot come back with this what they had before with like dudes competing in women's sport. Like that will not work. They will have to like redo something at least.
Yeah.
What do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah. I think if you look at Twitter, I think everyone thinks that we have ended wokeness, all that extreme far left stuff, right? Frankly, from what I've seen, I think they haven't reflected on what they've done. There's very little introspection. I think the cultural war will go on.
Well, they see the numbers. Like they see it in the numbers. Like they don't have to think too much. It's just seen in the results, I guess, across the world.
I mean, they've seen it. They've seen how. I mean, it was a pretty big win for Trump. Like Trump won the popular vote, both the Senate and the House. They've seen the data. So, but I don't think they've really introspected. I think the cultural war will go on. It's just what happens because like this is like the fourth turning theory, the generational theory, whereby like after 80 years of peaceful like world peace and economy growing year after year, everyone is rich. Everyone does not need to worry about putting food on their table. Then people start virtual signaling and then do this bullshit cultural war stuff. So the cultural war, I think, will go on, but it'll just take a different form. Like wokeness, maybe they don't call it wokeness anymore. Maybe they call it something else. But people are just gonna shit on each other.
Exactly.
They have nothing else to do.
But it's so interesting, this Democrat evolution, because I mean, I remember in the past, I was also more, Obama, this and that, but then it started to become crazy. And I know Elon Musk said the same, and Joe Rogan, like most people, they were like Democrats before, who are now hardcore Trump, because it's this attack on business, it's attack on like taking too far many of these things with gender and this and that. But yeah, let's see how that will evolve. But it's super interesting because they have to be pro crypto, because their audience, their voters, they like crypto. All of these people who work in maybe Latin America or have a family there and blacks, like this is perfect. Like crypto for developing countries. If you have any kind of connection to developing country, you want crypto. You don't want freaking TradFi to rob you of all your whenever you do a transaction. So for their audience and voter cohort, it could be fantastic if they were pro crypto, but they gotta wake up soon if they want to keep them. Because I also heard that a lot of these audiences that normally are democratic, they vote for Trump because I mean probably to an extent.
I'm one of them.
You're also one of them.
I was very vocal about it. I voted for Democrats last 3 elections until Trump. Like I was just fed up. Like what the hell is going on? I need some common sense, right?
Exactly. No, I just feel like I feel myself that wow, like finally back to common sense, and it feels like there's this a bit of exuberance with many founders, and I mean, especially I'm only in crypto, so I can only speak for crypto, but also tech, not only the crypto, also tech. Just you look at Mark Andreessen and what they're saying that it's 10 years of walking on eggshells and being afraid of your own shadow it's now over. They're super excited. So yeah, there's a lot of this builder founder excitement now, which will probably lead to innovation, new apps, new experiences, crypto, and all of that. How can we tie this together, Chao? Like, what's like if we are to give our audience some, this is 2025, what to do, how to make money, how to not get wrecked. What would you say?
I think if you're not full time in crypto, I think owning Bitcoin is always for the long term is always a good bet. I think Bitcoin will continue to outperform until we actually get that strategic reserve. I think once we get that, and nation states have really started to buy Bitcoin, then I think we've reached the sort of the terminal velocity. Like Bitcoin, from that point on, I don't think Bitcoin will outperform others anymore. But before then, I think Bitcoin will still it's probably still the best crypto asset, because it's still like at 1/10 of gold. Like that's how undervalued it is.
Yes.
And then another obvious bet is just buying a whole Solana, because it's still 1/3 of ETH, right? Now, if you're in crypto full time, you could do something different. Like if you're a full-time trader, you can actually, I think it's possible to be in the trenches and then just get really good at it and then just make a fuck ton of money. If you're a builder, I think this is the golden age of building in crypto. Like I really believe this is the golden age. Everything is in place. The technology, the critical mass of users on chain, the regulations, everything is in place for you to build good crypto apps. So I think that's for 2025.
That's awesome, man. So guys, go and follow Chao. You see on the screen. I'll also link it. Also, check out Good Game podcast. And listen to it. It's very good. I mean, it's very unique because you guys discuss the startups from investor standpoint, and also you're consistent, because I've seen some people just do one episode and then they get like 5 views and they don't do it anymore. But you guys have hustled through the no one knows about the podcast, and now it's quite big now, and it's established. So great work on that.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're gonna be in touch. Fantastic having you here, Chao. Thanks for your time, and good luck to you in this market. And let's do it. Let's do it in a few months as well. It will be fantastic to get your updates.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Thanks.